All right, good afternoon, everybody. Today we're going to talk about do-it-yourself testing and a couple easy tests, soil texture test and the percolation test. A couple words of wisdom here. If you don't have good soil, you have a recipe for failure. And I don't care how good you are or the plants you buy or the techniques you use, without good soil, you can't garden. So the success of your garden depends on your soil, so don't treat it like dirt. And topics we're going to cover are two easy do-it-yourself soil tests that go hand in hand with each other. The soil texture test, the soil percolation test, and what do these tests do for the gardener? So first one we're going to cover is the soil texture test. First thing you want to do is you want to collect a sample of soil from below the root zone. Sample should be representative of the gardening area, and you want to sift to remove the rocks and the roots. You want to fill a 1 quart wide mouth jar halfway full with soil. Add a tablespoon of powdered dishwashing detergent as a surfactant. And this will keep your soil particles separate and give you a much more accurate test. It'll keep it bound together. Next step you want to do is fill the jar approximately 1 inch from the top with water. Put a good lid on that won't leak, and then shake the jar for approximately 3 minutes to thoroughly combine the soap, soil, and water. Preferably do this outside or near a sink, because if it does leak, you don't want to mess. Next, you want to set the jar on a flat surface and allow it to settle. 24 hours is usually what I usually let it set for. You can let it sit longer till you get those 3 defined separations. Then you want to mark and measure the levels of the sand, silt, and clay. Sand will be at the bottom. Silt is going to be your middle layer, and clay will be your top layer. And as you can see, the 3 different levels have separated there. And all you do is measure and put a black line on it, and then you're going to start measuring that. And this is where a lot of people get confused. You don't want to go with the water level. You want to go with the height of the soil that's in the jar. So you want to measure that total height. And that's how you're going to get your 3 distinct layers. Once you get your 3 distinct layers, then you're going to go into a soil triangle and you're going to plot them out where each of the 3 layers are on the triangle. And then you're going to intersect it, and where that intersection is, it'll tell you the type of soil that you're working with. And we're going to do some examples here in a little bit. So how you use the soil triangle to calculate your soil texture. The first one on the left is a sand type soil, and you can see it had a 0 to 10. If you follow the 0 to 10 up on your triangle, it's right over on your left hand side of the triangle. So there's your 0 to 10. And next you're going to go up to your silt level, and that's all the way on the right side of the triangle, and just follow that intersecting line all the way down to where it intersects with the clay side. And then the last part will be your sand. And you can see that falls right into that sand type soil. The middle one, you have a 10 to 30% clay. So follow that up to the 10 to 30%. And then the 30 to 50% silt. And then your 25 to 50% sand. And that's going to put you right in the loam, in that brown section in the center. And your last one here is clay. And that's what most of the people are going to fall into, either the clay or the clay loam. So you have your 50 to 100% clay. That's going to take you all the way up to the top of the triangle. Your right-hand side is your silt, 45%. And then your 0 to 45% sand puts you right in the middle of that clay triangle somewhere. So is there any questions on that right there? We're going to give you some problems to see what you come up with. So let's start with this one. And Gary, I'm going to let you help me out a little bit on this.
Art?
Yes, go ahead.
Is clay lighter than silt?
Yes.
And what's in silt?
Silt is, it's going to be not, I'm not going to say a gritty. It's more like the organic matter.
And organic matter is
Well,
heavier than clay. Huh.
Yes, it is.
Art,
Yes.
silt is really fine sand, clay, or other material that's carried by running water and is deposited as a sediment.
It's basically like the delta, whatever you find at the end of a runoff.
Well, that makes sense. If it's fine material, clay and that kind of stuff, then it would be denser, and then it would be heavier.
Yes, it's going to be, or yes, your sand. Yeah, it's going to be like the remains of your organic matter, your rotted stuff.
It's all the dust, wet dust.
And everything that combines together that's not clay that binds and not sand that's gritty. It's all the stuff that's not those.
Yeah, it just surprised me that it was heavier than clay.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, thank you.
Oh, no worries. Thanks, Alice. All right, so back to this triangle, and we're going to give you some problems to figure out where you're at. And Gary, are you there?
I am.
All right, here's the first problem right here. And if you could, what we'd like you to do is submit your answer. Click on one after you track it out.
So on your computer, just click the one that you think it is.
And I don't know where that's going at, but on mine, it's right over top of my triangle.
Okay, I tried to move it, but I can't. So.
We can move it. Just hold your mouse down and move it.
Yeah, move it away from your triangle, and then you can mark it.
So it's 35% clay, 30% silt, and 35% sand.
And is that where they all overlap?
You need to go and track each one of them out. The 35% clay, you're going to go on the left side, put 35% on your left side of the triangle, and then you're going to go up and do your silt, which is a 30%, and follow it down where it intersects with that 35% clay, and then you're going to go do your sand and see where all three of them intersect together.
Intersect, okay.
So you should come up with an answer. where it's going to fall.
So I've got 3 people that have answered out of the 12 so far.
I put the wrong answer. I hit the wrong button. It's too late.
And just
I
for
get it
those that are polling, it's anonymous. Nobody could see what your answer is. We just see the totals. So just click on the word that you think that it is, and it'll register an answer. There's 4 of you, 5 of you. I'll wait just a few more seconds to see if a couple more want to try it.
Hey, Art, I have a suggestion. When you show this, run your mouse to how you're saying so that you can see that it slides there and then you intersect from there. Yes. When you show, explain to how this is, because I was confused too.
Okay, can you see my mouse move?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so, we'll do the first one together. Here's that 35%. You're going to follow it up on the clay. And it's going to go right about into where my pointer is, roughly right around there. So you see where that is. Whoops, my mouse disappeared. There it is. Okay, so then you're going to go over to the silt, which is up on the right-hand side, and you'll follow that down to roughly the 35% is right in there somewhere. And then you're going to look for 35% sand, and we're just about there, right where we're at. So it's going to be a clay loam.
Art, we didn't see you move this, follow the sand line up.
Okay, the sand line is right here. You're going to follow it right on up to right into here. So your answers for this first one is going to be a clay loam. Everybody?
And that's what most people got.
All right, good. All right.
So people can see the answer.
Oh, good.
So I'm going to stop sharing.
All right, we'll go to the next problem and see how that one works. Okay, so this one here, you have 10%, 10% clay, silt is 60%, and then 30% sand. So I'll wait till we get responses on that, and then we'll look into it and see how it works.
I had to switch over to I had to switch over to the computer because I couldn't see everything on my phone. So sorry I didn't respond earlier.
All right.
Six. Okay.
Are we on number two? Okay, never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, we're on the second one.
Okay, I have half of you have voted. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll, and then I'm going to show. And everybody said it was a silt loam.
Yep.
All right, good. All right, great. That's what it was. Okay, so what we did here. Okay, so what we did here, we went up onto the 10% for your clay. And then we're going to go over to the 60% for the silt, which is right here. Follow it down to 10%, which is going to fall right into your silt loam so far. And then 30% for your silt or your sand is right there. So it fell right in there for us. And to be honest with you, if you get two of the triangles, they're going to intersect and tell you what the third one is anyhow.
Makes sense.
So you really only have to plot 2 of them out. Okay, so the next question. Your clay is 20%, your silt is 35%, and your sand is 45%.
That's the kind I want.
Okay, 3 of you, 4 of you, 5 of you. Few more people will try to vote. 6. 7. I'm going to go ahead and end it then
All right.
and share the results.
Okay,
Most people thought it was a loam.
that's correct. It is a loam. All right, so how we got this was you went up to your 20%, and then I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to go right over to the 45% for the sand, and it's going to follow right to here. And if you follow that up to your silt, you're going to find out that it's approximately 35%.
Oh, I see.
So that's how it falls into that loam category. And I think it was Alice said that's the kind of soil she wants. Okay, next one. We have a 60% clay, 20% silt, and a 20% sand. This one's pretty easy.
5 people have voted. 6 people have voted. Anybody else? Going.
You're out of here.
Everybody said it was clay.
Oh, outstanding. That's what it was clay. So that's what just about everybody's usually is around this area. So that's an easy one. That's why I said it was easy. So if you follow the 60% up on the clay line of the triangle and then come over, we'll go with the silt this time and 20% down, you can see it's going to hit right in the middle here of this clay triangle. All right, last one. 5% clay, 85% silt, and 10% sand.
What do you do? There's 5% clay, silt, 5%, silt.
You may want to, thank you, mute. You're giving us the answer.
Okay, I have 6 people voted. Anybody else? Okay. Here's what you got, Art.
All right, thanks. The answer for that one was silt. So 83% said silt. Great job. So we'll trace this one out real quick. Let me find my mouse. Okay, so it's a 5% a clay, and then we'll make it real simple. We'll just go over to 85% silt, and it's going to follow right into this area right here, and then over some more for 10%. So you can see right where that line intersects. It's basically almost right in the middle of that silt green area there. Good job. Okay, the next easy do-it-yourself test. So once the texture is figured out, another easy test to conduct is the percolation test or the perc test. And this is really simple and really quick also. So first we're going to say, what is a percolation test and what does it do? It conducts an easy way for you to see your drainage rate of your soil. And it gives you an idea how much you have to water. So first thing you want to do is dig an approximately 1 foot diameter, 1 foot deep hole. Preferably don't use tennis shoes. Set the soil on a side in a tarp or a bucket. Fill the hole up with water, and then you want to allow it to drain. And once that hole has drained, you want to immediately fill it back up again. And what I usually do is I put a stick across or some sort of board across the diameter of that hole, and then I run a tape or a ruler down inside to the bottom of the hole and take a measurement. So in 15 minutes, you just want to measure that drop of water in inches. So as you can see, as the water is lowering, you should be able to read the graduations of the ruler or tape. And you want to use 15-minute increments, and you just multiply it by 4. That'll give you approximately how much it drains per hour. And that's what a percolation test is all about. So what do you do with the results? And this basically is the results for both the soil texture and the percolation test. So do you see how this works hand in hand with each other? Because if you have a clay soil, it's going to drain a lot slower than a sandy soil. So that's why you do these tests together. The ideal soil drainage is about 2 inches per hour, with readings between 1 to 3 inches generally okay for garden plants that have an average draining needs. So 1 to 3 inches is generally fine per hour. 2 inches is ideal. If the rate is less than 1 inch per hour, your drainage is too slow. So you need to improve the drainage or choose plants that tolerate a wet soil. If the drainage is more than 4 inches per hour, it's too fast, and you should consider choosing plants that tolerate dry conditions and droughty soils, or you amend it. So addressing the issues, I can't preach enough about this. Compost it. Incorporate compost and organic matter into the soil. Organic matter helps heavy clay. It helps to break up that heavy clay to drain. And it helps the coarse, sandy soil to hold moisture. So no matter what you do, is a win-win situation whenever you compost.
Hey, Art, can you give me some examples of what organic matter is?
Yes. Organic matter is when you're making compost. If you know, I think most people know what compost is, but organic matter could be manures. It can be grass clippings. It can be coffee grounds, tea grounds. That is what organic matter is.
Leaves?
Leaves are part of organic matter because they're going to rot away. They're used to make compost. That's considered your carbon mixture. Dry leaves is considered carbon. So you want to add that to compost to make compost. So to make compost, you need a green and a brown mixture, which is nitrogen and carbon. Nitrogen is anything that is that's going to rot. So we're talking green grass, we're talking manure, we're talking tea leaves, we're talking vegetable scraps, we're talking plants, green plants. That's all organic matter that you want to throw in there, and that's green organic matter. So if you mix that with browns, such as leaves, dry grass would be brown. Shredded paper is brown. So you mix that together and you're making compost. You usually want to add 2 parts brown, 2 to 3 parts brown to 1 part green, and mix that up thoroughly and let that sit. And then that way it starts deteriorating and breaking down, and then you can put it on your garden. Or you can put it all in your garden together and let it break down on its own. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
All right.
Art,
Yes.
also bedding from the barn, right?
Yes, anything that has manure, that's going to be a little bit of combination of manure and straw or whatever you're using for bedding or chips. That's fine.
It'll complete its composting in the garden. What about that manure you guys were talking about from human waste?
What do you
What-
say why don't we talk about biosolids another time, Jackie?
Why?
Because Art is not an aficionado of it, so let's. You can use a Class A biosolids in your garden too. It has a place there if you choose to use it. Yes.
That's part of the category, Art?
What's that? Biosolids?
Yeah, that's part of a compost category?
Yes, it is if you use biosolids.
Yes, I see. Okay.
Okay. Just,
Thank you.
you just got to be aware of certain things of it, but they just did a biosolids lesson not very long ago, I think.
Yeah, I just thought Alice was saying that didn't fit in that category. She's just saying that's not your preference.
It is not my preference. No.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, good. All right, so this mixture, so you want to have your compost. If you're using manures, any type of manures you want to use with exception of like alpaca or rabbit manure, you can use those immediately, but horse manure, you're going to suffer through weeds if you're not careful. Cow manure and all this other manures, chicken manure, you want to let sit for at least 3/4 of a year to a half a year before you start growing in it, so you don't pass on pathogens into your vegetables. Okay, so next thing you want to do is choose the plants suited to your soil drainage. And if you have a well-drained soil, you want to use something that is drought tolerant. If it's a soil that retains water really well, something that likes to to grow in wet soil. So check your plants and choose them well. If your soil is so bad, then the other way around this is to build raised beds for better control over the soil texture and put your own soil in there. So in summary, we covered the 2 do-it-yourself soil tests that go hand in hand with each other. We covered the soil texture test, the soil percolation test, and then what does the soil texture and soil percolation test do for the gardener? These were the references I used. But this second site down is a Washington State University, and it's a do-it-yourself soil test. And it has all different types of soil tests that you can do just real quick and easy at home. It doesn't cost, an arm and a leg to do, but it just gives you an idea where your soil is sitting. It's a great site.